Do you think that Jalen Milroe has played his last game at Bryant-Denny Stadium? Yes or no, inside the comment box. I'll be honest, Jalen Milroe is the most polarizing quarterback that I've covered during my time covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. You have the good, you have the bad, you have touchdowns, you have turnovers. It's been polarizing to say the least. A lot of people saw his play against Oklahoma, had anxiety going into this game against Auburn. He had some turnovers, but he also reels out 350 all-purpose yards and 3 scores as the Crimson Tide defeated Auburn in a must-win Iron Bowl game, right? Hugh Freeze said it best going into this game. You prepare for the player that Jalen Milroe could be, and it's kind of a feast and famine type game style with Jalen Milroe. So asking you, do you think this is the last game that he played at Bryant-Denny Stadium? I ask that because a lot of people think he's a senior, and while he has graduated, he's only a redshirt junior, right? So he can come back if he wants to come back for this next season. I 100% think he moves on to the NFL. I think his NFL draft stock is high enough to go to the NFL. Look, Mel Kiper, who has his big board at every single position, has Jalen Milroe as the number 3 quarterback off the board. That's following Cam Ward of Miami and Shadori Sanders of Colorado. Do you agree with that? There's some other quarterbacks out there that could certainly be taken in the NFL draft. And when you look to the state of the NFL right now, you know that there are certain organizations, a lot of them, that need a quarterback on their team. And I guess one thing that I was thinking will save Jalen Milroe, depending on how Alabama's season shakes out, is the NFL Combine. I think that a 6'2", 235-pound quarterback that runs a 4.3 40 time. Remember, he was clocked out at 22 miles an hour or whatever. So I think when he shines at the NFL Combine, you know, that'll be something that he can also put in his cap. He'll interview well. He has a great personality, really likable person, brings leadership into the locker room, right? So I think, though, with the downside about Jalen Milroe is it's a feast or famine. And you look at kind of his growth here at the University of Alabama, and I list here at the bottom, he's had 3 different offensive coordinators, Bill O'Brien, Tommy Rees, and Nick Sheridan. Let's face it, all those guys are below average offensive coordinators compared to the last 3 since I covered the team, which was Mike Locksley, Steve Sarkisian, and Bill O'Brien. Has that hurt his development? I don't know. I think that's up for debate. But Jalen Milroe has had plenty of opportunities this year to improve. And where I circle on the big board when you're looking at his overall stats, this is concerning when you look at Jalen Milroe and the progress of him as a quarterback, right? In the green circles represent the touchdowns that he has thrown in SEC play. And I keep bringing up the stat. It's really amazing to me. Since October 5th, right, Vanderbilt, he's thrown just 3 touchdowns. You minus that Mercer game because that's not SEC competition. Only 3 touchdowns during that point in time. And on the other side, you have 9 interceptions against SEC play. That's a number that is quite astounding, and Alabama is still winning. And I wonder, when the playoff committee is discussing should Alabama make it, you know, you look at the players and how their players are performing on the field. Is Jalen Milroe playing championship level football? Maybe not passing the football, but I think you look to the running ability that he brings to the table. Man, this guy rips off 4 touchdowns against LSU. Last night, he rips off, 3 touchdown runs against Auburn on the season, 152 carries, 719 yards, 20 touchdowns, an average of 4.7 per carry, and his longest is 72. The thing with this offensive play calling this year is they have really gone ground heavy with Jalen Milroe. I mean, let's face it, that is Alabama's identity, is the running ability of Jalen Milroe. Now, I understand that Jam Miller, which I was amazed to see, had 28 carries, his season high, his career high. Previous to that, he had like 16 carries. But this team wants to run Jalen Milroe. And when they get into the red zone, these designed quarterback runs are very difficult to stop because of the speed that he has on the outside. I think along with the fact that he's had 3 offensive coordinators that you could talk about. Look, this guy over the last couple games, I think we can all agree on this. he's had a lot of drops, right? CJ Dupree dropped some against Oklahoma. Ryan Williams dropped one against Oklahoma. Ryan Williams dropped a touchdown pass against Auburn. And look, the offensive line for Alabama has been not even average. It's been poor. Let's be honest. I mean, they've been rotating Formby, Elijah Pritchett. Those guys are not there yet. Will they get there? I have no idea. But this year, you could look at their Pro Football Focus grades as well. It's not it. I mean, all those factors are also not helping. But, Jalen Milroe, he is just, he hasn't made the decisions and that a quarterback needs to make at this level, which I think has hurt Alabama in several games, but his ability to make big plays makes up for that. So that's what makes it so polarizing. And I think when you look further on, if Alabama does make the playoffs, teams that are prepping for Alabama and teams that may draw Alabama, Notre Dame and Ohio State, these teams could be licking their chops. At the same time, they could be extremely fearful because you don't know which Jalen Milroe is going to show up. Following the game against Auburn, Kalen DeBoer was asked about Jalen Milroe and the impact that he's had on this overall season during his first year coaching here at the University of Alabama. Before we play this clip by Kalen DeBoer, what do you think inside the comment box? Do you think that Jalen Milroe will move on to the NFL? I certainly think he does. And I think, if he comes back, even though he does have great leadership abilities, I think because of the fact that he limits the targets, right? Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard and a couple tight ends, I think a lot of wide receivers would probably exit to other programs. So, look, a lot to dive into, but I want your feedback inside the comment box. Based on his play, do you think that Jalen Milroe comes back next season? Do you think he goes to the NFL? I want to hear from you inside the comment box. Here is Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about Jalen Milroe as a quarterback following Alabama's victory in the Iron Bowl.
Hey, Kalen. We kind of saw like Jalen, going around the perimeter, kind of having his moment there late. I'm just curious from your perspective, looking at the impact that Jalen Milroe has had on your first year and kind of you've seen him kind of take in that moment. What has he been like to you, and both on the field, off the field? What has he been for you?
Yeah, just, we talk about resiliency for our team. I think that's, that's a good word to use for him. It's hard being the quarterback of any football team. I think it's hard being a quarterback of a team that, in a program that expects to win every game. And, the ball's in his hands a lot, right? We throw with him, and I think he was, probably 70% or so, 18 for 24, and then obviously running the football. That's not just tonight. That's, a lot of what he brings to the table, and we, he facilitates a lot of moving parts, and he had some good conversions. I know there's always a play or two that you always want back, but he just continues to stay the course. I thought, him coming back after a couple plays there in the fourth quarter and making some big third down throws, guys helping him make plays too, and I thought throughout the course of the game, even the ones that were incomplete, I thought he had some, put him in a pretty good spot. And so was just really proud of the way he played tonight and, continue to be resilient, continue to just stay the course, and help us win the football game.